Well, I think we're live.
I think so.
I'm not sure, but we'll go with that anyway. Welcome to a special edition of Security Guy Radio, SecurityGuyTV.com. We're calling this Family Feuding, when parents attack. You'll know in a second. But I want to welcome my first special guest, Mr. Daniel Hernandez.
Thank you.
Welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Thank you, Chuck. How are you?
Good. So Daniel was on my show, what about it, last year?
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
We did the Security Bud thing.
That's correct.
That was great. And I just loved your whole brand, and I loved the way it looked. And
Thank you.
Young guy and, starting out.
Yeah.
And then I followed you on Facebook.
Sure.
And so we're always, helping each other, supporting each other, liking stuff. And a couple months ago, I started seeing your wife go, post this and post that. I'm going, wait a minute, what's going on over there?
Sure.
That sounds a little funny.
Yeah.
And I got into this story with you guys, and this is I'm putting this in Security Guy TV and radio because to me it's like a form of aggression.
Right.
And aggression's a form of violence.
I feel so.
Yeah, and family arguing can turn very, very ugly. There's a progression for that because I'm not sure many people started having a baby and say, oh, I hate that baby. Some people do.
Right.
But there's a general period where it's a joy because that's what you did. And then the relationship with the parent just kind of goes away. Mm-hmm. So tell me just a quick thumbnail of what we're going to talk about today. Then I want to get to your wife because she can talk. She'll just keep talking about it.
She's got all the real information. Yeah. But essentially what's happened is Cindy really had a house, and she had bought in this house with her ex-husband a few years back, and she was awarded the house in her divorce, and she let her parents stay in the house. And now, 2 years ago, we found the house for sale on the internet.
That's unbelievable.
It is pretty crazy.
2 years ago. Yeah,
2 years ago. So like something that's kind of been in the back of my mind is because I've been dealing with a lot of the court system lately. Is like just how inefficient our court system is. And 2 years, every trial setting conference cost me $1,000, and we've had 3 of those. Yeah, because the lawyer has to take 3 or 4 hours out of his day to go down there and, go through the whole thing. So, but that's pretty much what's going on. And now we're here at the 2-year mark. Hopefully, we're getting a trial date pretty soon. And it's just pretty much been a nightmare.
Cindy, are you done with your Facebook stuff there? Mm-hmm. You ready to go? Mm-hmm. All right, we're going to switch over to Cindy.
Here, I'll help the sharing.
All right. All right, so there you are. Look, you're on camera. We're all ready. All right, Tell me about the story. I mean, you can just start talking and say whatever you want, how you want to say it.
Okay.
I think chronologically is kind of a good idea.
Sure.
So people know.
Yeah.
So we know about Security Bud. We know you guys are a couple young parents. Got 3 kids?
2.
2 just had a new one recently. And a great success story.
Yes.
I just fascinated that people can start their own business. So
Thanks.
I don't know, start from the beginning and tell us what happened.
Yeah, just like Dan said, my parents had lost their home to a loan modification back in 2011. So that's why they moved in with us, my ex-husband and I.
Oh, your ex-husband. Okay, let me get that straight. Okay,
yeah, so
in that house, right?
Yeah, this happened with my ex-husband. They came in, and my ex-husband and I were already kind of splitting up, not doing so well. So I thought perfect timing. They're there to help me, support me.
Right.
It ended up being that way. I ended up still paying for everything, and I had to go.
Meaning the mortgage and
absolutely everything.
Utilities. Okay.
Yeah. My parents weren't helping me at all.
Did they work?
Yeah, they both were. My father owns a tire shop, United Pro Tires in Highland, California.
Okay.
So they had income, and I thought I was helping them by them saving money to get back on their feet so they could buy a home eventually, because I knew this was my home. This is where I was going to live and stay. And I ended up moving out to Orange County. I wanted to start a new chapter in my life. I was still going through the divorce, so I didn't, I couldn't do anything with the home at all. I was still tangled in divorce. Once everything.
But it was in your name and your ex-husband's name at the time. Okay.
So he signed it over. He didn't want anything to do with the home. He ended up keeping the owner-operator business along with the good car, and I got the home in exchange. Nobody wanted it at that time. I took it because the house was upside down.
Right.
And then I found my house listed for sale. And I had a suspicion in 2015 that it was my parents. Not that they had actually did it, but when I found out what they did, they forged documents to list my property for sale.
Yeah, because they would have to show themselves as the owner, I suppose.
Right. And they told the realtor that I was too busy to even...
Too busy to what?
To be contacted. So...
Yeah, who's too busy to sell their own home, right?
She knew who I was. She was also a family friend.
Right.
So all these people that have came into my life that are now helping my parents, or I don't know what they're doing, they're with my parents, have known me even before Daniel and I met. And they've, you know, the lawyer was the one that was trying to help me get divorced at that time. So he knew exactly who the house belonged to. And he knew me from, you know, from my divorce and my marriage.
Now, why would a real estate agent say, "Oh, they're too busy, that's fine," and not meet you? Or that just sounds weird.
I think in the Hispanic community, it's very hush-hush. Everybody tries to help everybody.
Right.
And I think this lady was just trying to help my parents. And I don't know why, or I stopped asking why. I mean, I think everybody's in it for the money at this point. My parents don't have anything to fall back on. I found out they're running from fraud in Mexico also. So it's nothing new to them.
Well, it's alleged they're running from fraud in Mexico. We have to be careful with our words.
Okay.
We've heard this from a number of really reputable sources. So, hey.
Well, it might not. I can't even talk today. Boy, it might not be relevant to this case.
No.
I mean,
Right.
Separate things, but
Yeah.
So Daniel, how long have you known the in-laws?
We're going on about 6 years now.
Right.
5-6 years, and I never really had a good relationship with them.
They've always been in the home when you
Yes.
first met Cindy,
Yeah,
and that's never
absolutely.
changed.
That's never changed.
Right.
I mean, these people, they're just. I always thought they were just kind of funny. Like they really expected Cindy to take care of, you know, rent, food, cooking. Like everything was kind of like dropped on her, and then, you know, it was kind of like, well, I'm your parent, you should be taking care of me. Well, I mean, maybe that goes true in certain cultures, but in America, we really want to help our kids get up to the next level. It's not, you know, hold our kids down, you know, and take. So I just always felt kind of odd with that whole like mentality. And
you never lived in that home. You and Cindy have lived in your home since you started going out and got married and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, pretty much. So, I mean, I stayed, you know, in my own place for a while, and then I moved her out to Orange County. We got a place together, and so I never really stayed there. Maybe, you know, a quick thing here and there, but
Like an overnight.
yeah, it was never. I never lived there.
Right.
So, it was. It's definitely a shock, this whole thing. So
Definitely.
All right. So tell me. Tell me about your parents' story. I mean, they came here from Mexico. Were you born here? And
no, I was born in Mexico.
Okay.
So I did come here illegally. I crossed the border illegally. And I did the whole Reagan amnesty. I stood in line and I paid.
No. Oh, how long?
Yeah,
You don't look that old. You must have been a baby.
No, I'm 30. How old am I? 34.
Okay.
34.
All right. So
I
you're
was,
you're an American citizen.
Yes, I became an American
Right.
citizen at 16.
Oh, good.
17. Yeah. It took a long
See,
time.
I love this stuff. This is the story, right?
Yeah, it took a long time.
Sure, you get the citizenship,
Lots
and then you
of-
guys start a business. It's great. My friend Paul, the British guy that comes on here,
Oh, really?
I think it took him 20 years to get his citizenship.
You know,
But
it's a long process.
It's a long process. I spent a lot of times in the line. Like, we just drove past the immigration office, and it's a lot of memories.
Yeah.
You stand in those lines because we didn't have money for lawyers.
Right.
So it's do your own paperwork process. And as a lot of, you know, my maiden name was Coyote, Cindy Contreras Coyote. So I was always being interviewed because they thought we were coyotes.
Oh, boy.
I know. So.
Well, not surprising nowadays. The media.
But yeah, that's how I got here, and we moved a lot, but from house to house, and just trying. I think my parents were making ends meet and trying to be. I think back then, good people.
Yeah, it seems like hard work. I mean,
Yeah.
listen, that's like saying I'm going to pack up and I'm going to move to I don't know.
But then
Albania, because that's the greatest country on earth. I don't have that in me.
Right.
Yeah.
For people to do that, that takes fortitude. It takes a lot
But then
of
we
things.
found out the real reason why they moved, Chuck.
Well, that's a good motivation too.
You see, we found out the real reason why they
but
moved.
some people might still stay.
It wasn't quite the American dream that everybody is actually seeking for the most part. We found out they may have done some pretty unsavory acts in Mexico, and he was basically running from those acts.
Well, let's talk about when you were a kid, because what we're trying to get to in the security kind of part of this, in a way, is how people act towards each other aggressively, or microaggressions they're starting to call them now, right? But aggression is the first tip towards violence.
Right.
Aggression is the first thing. Violence is way down here at the end. Did you have an aggressive childhood? Were your parents
Yes.
pretty normal?
No.
So this has been going on a long time.
Yes.
All right, so tell us about that. That's kind of interesting.
When all this happened, I kind of was triggered. It's called a triggered. I have PTSD. I didn't know I was going through that. I thought I was more depressed about the betrayal,
Right.
versus what I was going through. But I had a very traumatic childhood, abusive neglect and physical abuse, and I thought it was normal.
Sure, I mean, that's what happens,
You know,
yeah.
I thought it was okay, and so some of it I didn't think it was okay, and some of it I did, think.
Right. When as you get older, you realize.
Yeah.
All right.
And I noticed as soon as my parents were really into having side jobs, and so my mother got she became a foster mom, and that's where I started seeing things that I didn't approve happen. I felt like my mom used the system. She didn't take care of the kids.
Right.
And so when I was going through this abuse, I didn't want to run away. I was 8 years old wanting to run away from home. I had suicidal thoughts. I just didn't have a good relationship with these people. And so when I would tell her I'm gonna call CPS, or she would tell me in Spanish, I work for them, so I know how.
Oh.
Yeah, and if you go, you're gonna go with one of my friends, and so I know how these ladies were. They weren't the nicest women.
Right.
And so that whole thing, I felt like they were just my tormentors throughout my whole childhood.
Oh, I'm very sorry to hear that. That's it seems to fit, though.
Yeah.
I mean, parents don't go from, hey, I love you, here's your college education, to now I want to steal your house.
Yeah,
It's not that jump, usually.
No.
It's kind of weird.
Like I said, it didn't all hit me until I moved, when all this happened, and we ended up moving in with Daniel's parents. And Daniel's parents are, the high sassy, Polly and his mom.
High sassy.
We call her Sassy. That's what the grandkids call her.
But
she loves the name.
They're all American, just white family, and I don't mean to be racist, but that's how I see it.
You're not being racist.
Okay.
They are a white family. Americans.
and I saw what I saw on the TV, and I wanted that, and I didn't get to have that as a child. I couldn't watch. Sorry.
It's okay. Take your time. Take your time. Let's go to Daniel. I'll give you a little break off
Sure,
camera, okay?
yeah.
All right, let me switch over here, Mr. Daniel. All right. You all right? Take your time. It's okay.
Yeah.
All right. Tell me about this white family thing. What's this all
Oh,
about?
it's just American.
Nobody's whiter than me, my friend.
No, they're
All right,
not.
my white hair
My
and-
mom's white. She's English, Irish, and Portuguese, and my dad's Mexican, but he's like fifth generation, so he's American. Like, if he got dropped off in the middle of Long Beach, he'd have an easier time than if he got dropped off in the middle of Tijuana. You know what I mean?
Well, this race stuff is funny. I mean,
Yeah.
people call me somebody I know called me a gringo.
Sure.
Because they're Cuban.
Oh. Okay.
And I said, really? So the Cubans, you mean from Spain, the conquistadors Cubans, because that's what their family is,
Sure.
right? And I said, that's Caucasian, right? You're a gringo too.
Right.
Technically.
Yeah.
Technically, yes.
That's
exactly.
all mixed up. And you wouldn't know this, but I'm 1/3 Native American.
See, there it is.
Oh, wow.
And I'm as white as they get.
Yeah.
So I wasn't out on the prairie, apparently. Didn't get a suntan.
Not enough.
Some of the relatives didn't do that. So, but these things do speak to some of the problems, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Cultural differences
Yeah.
definitely kind of they can definitely amplify or be like a catalyst sometimes to starting a little problem, because you learn, hey, maybe that wasn't the right thing to be doing,
Right.
or that's not, technically correct here.
Well, maybe your parents are jealous. I don't know. I mean, who knows?
Oh,
what
we
the deal
already
is.
know that.
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't watch The Simpsons for Christ's sake.
Wait, hold on a second. I got to put you back on camera for that one. That's a. What happened there? It says something happened. Oh, the recording stopped. Well, that's okay. We're still streaming. Let me get you back on here.
Oh, it's okay.
All right, there you are. All right. Now,
Yeah,
that's un-American.
Yeah.
Not watching The
I
Simpsons.
couldn't
Right.
watch The Simpsons.
Why couldn't you?
I couldn't watch Roseanne. I couldn't. I mean, it was my friends. I knew they could, but
Right.
I couldn't, and it was because it was just. I felt my life was so strict and just controlled. I mean, I couldn't have a license. I couldn't go get my license. I couldn't get a job. Everything was completely controlled. I couldn't go to school after school with my friends to go hang out, and I didn't know it was not normal.
Right.
I thought it was okay. And the big thing, and it's taken me a long time to say, especially to people, but the biggest thing my parents did, and I think that's where I kind of halted. When I turned 16, I got a bad grade in math, and my mother decided to lock me up in the garage for 7 days.
Oh.
And I was tortured and tormented by her. I had to live in the garage, and she would do her daily stuff. I'd have to wake up at 5 a.m. in the morning until my father came home and just clean. And this was obviously not normal. But I thought I was more ashamed to tell anybody than anything.
That's very common. I mean, don't be ashamed.
Yeah.
That's just what happens.
Yeah,
but
now I feel like, it's made me stronger.
Did you get to report any of this to the police at the time?
I've been trying to get all this already reported, and I think since I never have said anything, it's
difficult.
It's very.
It's also difficult when it happens.
Yes.
At the real time.
And I thought, oh my gosh, what am I going to tell my friends? I was gone for a week, and I didn't know what to tell them except that I just had to not go to school. But I ended up running away at 18 years old, so from these people, and they kept coming back into my life, and again until this happened, and I think this is the last straw.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. It does fit the pattern of abuse.
Yeah.
It's just continual. Now this is financial abuse in a
yeah.
way. So how did they? Let's go through the process. They lived in your house. How long do they live there, or have they lived there since the beginning? Since 2011.
2011.
Christmas of 2011, I guess.
Yeah.
I think is when they moved in. So.
Yeah, because they lost their home to a loan mod that
Went south.
Went south.
All right.
Yeah.
And they've never paid rent.
Not
No.
until
Not to you. And they never paid the mortgage. In other words, you were writing the checks for the mortgage this whole time.
Right.
You and Daniel.
well, except for no. Once she moved out to Orange County, we told them, hey, look, if you're going to be staying here, I mean, the least you can do is just take care of the monthly mortgage payment. It's the rent, and once and they knew this because Cindy was going to get the house in the divorce. Once it was all finalized, Cindy had to sell the house. It's written in her divorce decree.
Oh.
So
Yeah, I had to sell the
a judge in San Bernardino County acknowledges that this house is her real property already. So now we just have to get this other judge to acknowledge the same fact. But
So you've been trying to sell it within the last couple years.
Yes.
So it sounds like I'm just trying to get the timeline straight. So your divorce got final when?
March 2015. My mother actually attended the divorce.
Okay, so then they're still in the house. Now it's
Right.
your house, and
Right.
now this thing happens soon after
Yes.
that.
right away.
Oh,
Right away.
interesting. Oh, okay.
They've been
March,
scheming this for a
January,
long time.
Yeah.
March,
So
April,
now
May,
you
June,
can't
July.
sell it because the title's clouded, basically.
Right.
Right. Yeah, and they knew that we had to sell the house.
Right.
Absolutely. And they tried to extort us when we went to go talk to them. My father was already a little drunk, and so is my mother. So I didn't make the situation better. But they asked for $90,000, or I wasn't getting my house back.
97.
Oh, 97.
Yeah,
Sorry.
don't forget that 7 now.
I know. Geez, I'm
Extra
almost
money.
at 100,000.
So what's the escrow company doing? I mean, there's an escrow company that's tied to the sale. They've been appointed probably.
So-
And they have to go get title. They have to clear title. They have to say, oh, wait a minute, Cindy's got
one
title right
here.
here in this piece of paper, and what's going on with that?
That's kind of how it all stopped because I found something. We got a weird email from a realtor, and something was like, "Hey, let's look on the internet." And so that's exactly what we did. We looked on the internet. Sure enough, we found the house with her parents' cars in the driveway, on the internet, with the yard sign in the front yard. Oh. I mean, ready. I mean, they already had pictures taken. And it was.
Even
the whole thing was done.
If you Google it right now, you could see it's.
So, long story short, we went down there. We told him, hey, I called a buddy of mine who's in the real estate business, and he took it all off and got it all taken care of for me. And then we ended up contacting the realtor, and she's like, oh yeah, I needed you to sign that paperwork because, your dad's, I didn't need his signature. And we're like, but that's not, he signed, Cindy's name. She admits to this in an email,
Oh, okay. And the real estate agent does.
Yeah, the real estate agent admits that her dad basically forged her signature or a variation of it to try to get this house moving.
So these aren't speculations that I'm making up. This is all
not an allegation. Well, not an allegation in the sense that somebody's going to adjudicate it, but you verified this and it's your house. And all right. So, is the real estate company? I don't know. You know what to mention them, by the way. Are they somehow buddies with your parents or involved in this or what? I mean, no. Well,
that's kind of that's kind of the whole thing. I learned long ago how these people tend to act, and people that have this type of, they have these personalities, I guess you could say. They tend to befriend people, but not for the correct reasons, And so they have a lot of weird acquaintances that you would not even imagine. Like, really, like you're friends with that person? Oh, but they do this. Oh, that's why you're friends with them, So they really try to have a real nice little bullpen of, and I mean, honestly, the people that they have are usually just a bunch of flunkies, but I mean, they think they've got like, the New York Yankees sitting there, you know what I mean? So it's quite funny, but yeah, I mean, that's what they kind of do. And that they were real warm to me, cause they thought I was real successful and yada, yada, yada. They were real warm to me until I think they asked for money about the umpteenth time. And I told them absolutely not. And they were coming to her
the parents.
My parents.
Yeah. They would come to her constantly for money too, and she'd be like, no, and they'd be like, well, just sneak it over to us, and she'd be like, no, I'm not taking any of the money, And so once they got onto that, I wouldn't be sharing any of my success with them. That's when we kind of stopped seeing eye to eye.
All right, so they have a tire shop.
Yes.
And it doesn't make any money, or what?
Well,
it's open for business. Do you see cars driving there and change tires?
I don't want to say anything.
That could be considered slander.
All
right, so but they do have a business.
They do have a business. It's just there.
All right. Okay.
I'd run it differently. I'll put it that way, Chuck.
We would just run it differently.
Well, maybe you should give me some pointers on Security Guy Radio and TV. It might be helpful too.
We're gonna talk. We're gonna talk about something else.
I got your channel waiting, dude. It's all ready to go.
We're gonna talk about it. I already have it lined. I already have it all set up. So.
Right. Oh, right. So. Right now, the house is not for sale?
No.
Okay. And now you have pending litigation to stop this, clear the title.
Yes.
Why isn't it not just automatic? I'm just curious.
We've had
doesn't the real estate company say, okay, I give up, sorry, let me change all that and get rid of it and we're all done?
So the real estate company doesn't have any effect on this whatsoever. It's because her parents filed a lawsuit against Cindy. So this is what happened. I'll give you a quick timeline so you understand everything.
Put you back on camera here.
So in 2011, they moved in, or end of 2011, 2012, they move in. In end of 2012, Cindy splits up with her ex-husband. In 2013, she moves out to Orange County, which is when they start paying, the little bill. And then what happens in 2015, we find out that they're selling the house. We tell them that, hey, we finally pinpointed them. We got them because they didn't want to talk to us for a few weeks. We had to actually go down to their house at 10 o'clock at night and be like, hey, we caught this thing on the internet. We need to discuss this because this is not okay. So we get down there. Essentially what happened is they kicked us out. They said, well, you can't be here. You need to leave, yada, yada, yada. And so we said, well, okay, we're going to have to evict you now. I mean, we can't have you in this house and you're trying to pull these kind of maneuvers. Well,
which, by the way, in their defense, if it's their house through renting, occupying that way, then they have some kind of renter's rights to say,
absolutely,
you got to give me notice and all that kind of stuff.
Sure. So that's what we did. We gave them a 60-day notice.
Okay.
And after that 60-day notice, they didn't want to leave.
And it was still for sale at this time, or had it been canceled?
We canceled that sale by the next day.
Okay, good. Okay.
Well, if I would have let it go, we actually might have had a better case on our end,
Well, yeah. I mean, I wasn't sure you could cancel that fast. I'm glad you did, though.
Sure.
Right, so now you got a 3-day notice to quit. You got a 60-day notice. And
so then what happened is we go ahead and file the eviction. Everything gets processed. It's 30 days on that, and in the midst of that, they send the lawsuit over to Cindy for $1.5 million.
For what?
For damages and all the other.
To what?
That's what we don't know.
Did you break the grain crackers or something, or what?
We'd love to find out.
I think I owe them the moment I was
her
born.
Parents feel like she ruined their life because
so.
Her parents have no accountability. We've discussed that. I've actually flat out told them that because I said you always want to charge her for everything. I mean, I hate to be brash, but you guys are the one that had the fun and had the kid, not her. So I don't know who's to blame here. Like, let's think about this.
How bizarre!
It's very.
Are they charging for the price of the house or something, or what's their damage?
Diapers, baby food, changing.
Well, see what happened.
Christmas.
I have so much to my story, but when
I got all the time and tape in the world. So go ahead.
When they came back from Mexico in 2005, they moved. They had a rental property at that time that
they owned a rental property.
Yeah,
okay.
in Redlands, and my ex-husband and I moved in, and they came and they moved in with us. So we all lived in this big happy house, but it was their home, and so at one point they want to sell it, and that wasn't my permanent home. So my ex-husband and I wanted to buy a home eventually, so we didn't care what really happened to it. My parents pulled out money, about $80,000 from that home, because they didn't have any money when they came back from Mexico to start back up. And once that happened,
what's the best way to buy a new house? Pull money out of another house. Come on.
Right.
That's what they did. They ended up applying for a loan modification that didn't go through. And were
they trying to get the money out to give to you to buy your house, or what were they trying to do?
No,
just to live off it?
Just to live off.
Oh, all right.
They were going to go buy a new house. They wanted a house up in the hills.
Oh, okay.
So they actually gave Cindy $20,000 to start a business, and then they took the other money, $50,000 or $60,000, and they put it down payment on a big house in the hills.
Yeah, and once that happened, they lost their house, but they blamed that loss of house on me.
For what? Why?
Because they said if I didn't run away, this would have never happened. So I owe them a house.
Or if you would have paid back the $20,000.
Or I would have paid the $20,000.
But here's the funny thing.
Well, I almost owed my dad like $25 million because I moved out when I was 17 and never looked back and said, "Okay, see you later." So he was happy I had to leave. He had 14 kids at the end. In the end, when he married again, so he was happy not to have one more in the house. But
all done, huh?
Yeah.
No, they're charging me, but I ended up settling with them. I ended up giving them my Mercedes in lieu of the money I owed them from my half of the money that I borrowed back then.
What year was this?
When I borrowed the money?
Yeah.
2005 or 6.
And then you started getting divorced after that soon, a couple years.
I got divorced. I started my divorce in 2011.
11, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
No, 12.
12, well, yeah, but
13.
Now it's funny that Daniel would remember that date exactly. Men
good
tend to remember
dates.
those things.
He is
No, I'm just good with
good.
dates. Yeah, numbers.
You think I would, but I think with this whole thing happening...
No, it's a guy thing.
Yeah.
The guys know those things about the X. See, it's a protection thing.
No.
It's a protection thing.
I've had to keep this whole timeline in my head because it's been nonstop.
I know, it's constantly... I live this every day.
All right, now let's talk about something fun. How'd you guys meet? You're going through divorce, right? Cindy, you moved out. Do we not want to talk about that? Look, he's going off camera. He's taking his head off camera.
Oh, man. How did we meet? We worked together.
We worked together.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've just had a really rough life. My whole life.
You're both blushing, so we'll go right over that story.
Just really rough life. And when I met Daniel, all that went away.
Well, I got to say, things on Facebook are deceiving sometimes, right? We put our best foot forward. But you guys always look like you're having so much fun on there.
I was MIA for 2 years. This really took a toll on me emotionally. And, after doing my whole Facebook, Justice for Cindy, as embarrassing as it was the most freeing thing for me.
Right.
And so it gave me kind of some cojones, and I've been feeling better.
Now, do you have any brothers and sisters? I forgot to ask you.
I do. My sister, Robin. Hi, Robin.
One sister.
She's actually
on their side.
She's a listener.
She's a radio fan?
When they found out that we were going to be on here.
Thanks, Robin. Thanks for listening.
Hey, adding to the numbers. We like that. So.
So this is divided family. That's sad.
It is. She, my parents didn't treat her like they treated me.
Is she older than you?
No, she's younger.
Oh,
She's
younger.
20. She'll be 22. I think.
Oh, she's quite a bit younger.
Yeah.
Very young.
Okay.
Yeah. They loved her up a lot.
Yeah,
And
I was the oldest. Oldest gets kicked out the door.
Yeah,
right away.
I got kicked out kind of.
The baby's like, oh, my little
That's
baby
how-
sister, and that was 12 kids ago.
Yeah.
I'm no longer important. I get
It's
it.
sad, but like I really helped her throughout her teenage years when she came back from Mexico. But yeah, I even tried to talk to her before, but no, we couldn't see eye to eye. She thinks my parents are right.
Well, in these things, there are facts, right?
Facts.
And then there's opinions.
Yes.
And they tend to have a lot of opinions because it's very emotional.
Very much so.
And when we look at the escalation of violence scale, it starts out with these barbs and attacks and verbal things, and in your case, physical, right?
Yes.
And then it escalates. And I would be concerned from my security point of view that you
Yes.
avoid a further escalation somehow. How you do that, I'm not really sure, except, always be fair, always be truthful about things. That's one way to do it. On the other side of the equation, people that are violent and target you, you can't
There's nothing
sometimes
we can do.
convince them.
And
It's
And I
hard to
trust,
change that mentality sometimes.
that's actually a big fear of ours because these people clearly
So
if they're willing to sue their own daughter, what else are they willing to do?
Well, that's pretty unusual, I got to say.
Yeah.
It's a little bit worrisome. I don't want to give them any ideas, but I've definitely thought of a few that they might be thinking of, and hopefully they wouldn't come around my house because they wouldn't last
Yeah.
very long.
Too many
but
cameras, I'm sure.
Way
Many.
too many cameras. Way too many cameras.
Have you guys ever thought about counseling? Like said, hey, okay, you go ahead and sue me, but let's all get together in a room and do some family counseling or something. Ever considered it?
I think it's far beyond that.
yeah,
Is it? All right.
This is a pretty big thing to throw at somebody, to try to financially ruin somebody, which is essentially what they're trying to do. They have
Right.
their case is diddly squat. They
Oh,
showed up to the
yeah.
deposition with Cindy's mortgage paperwork. Just because you have possession of somebody's paperwork doesn't mean you own the paperwork.
Right.
So that's the evidence
So,
they ended up turning in.
At this point, I don't think they have any. There's no reasoning with them because all they want is the money. They see money. That's all they see. Instead of working hard and making a retirement for themselves and taking care of their shop and trying to do things right, they just want to cheat people.
Yeah.
And
As every time they would just pull out money off of the home, but now they don't have
Right.
that opportunity anymore. So, but yeah,
So what's the status of the lawsuit right now? Where is it?
Well, litigation is just a fancy term for spend a lot of time wasting money.
Yes.
And the lawyers spend a lot. The lawyers make the money usually.
Yes.
Let me tell you.
But I mean, so how long ago was it filed?
September or October of 2015.
October 27th, 2015.
Okay,
There you
so a
go.
couple of years.
Yes.
And it's, those things are slow and so on.
How did it get this far?
Well, because it's America,
Oh,
and
I
you
know.
can convict a cheese sandwich in Los Angeles, and
Yes.
you can
You can.
sue a BLT if you want to.
You
That's just
could.
the way it goes, right?
It's
You could.
stupid.
But it just seems like a prima facie case to say
Excuse me.
you don't have a quick claim deed.
No.
You didn't sit in the property for 5 years and pay taxes or pay the mortgage, so you don't have a squatter's claim.
Right.
Nobody's giving you the house, and your name is not on the official title. So
What
why wasn't
are
it just
you
like
doing?
thrown out the door?
So this is the main issue that we have, and this is kind of and what we're going to talk about later, Chuck, about my radio show or my new radio show
Yeah.
or podcast is the injustices and how attorneys do take a lot of advantage of their clients, and we basically had an attorney in a nice fancy office that was like, oh yeah, we're gonna get right on this, we should be able to knock this thing out no problem, and we ended up finding out he just took it right into litigation, missed a lot of deadlines, so that way
Oh,
he didn't
no.
have to
No.
So basically, instead of him making $2,000 or $3,000 or $5,000 on us, he thought he could make $105,000 on us,
Right.
and he kind of hosed us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It kind of got left in the sea, and then we found another attorney.
yeah,
And,
he's been a lot more fair, but still, it's not a
not
cheap
fun,
process.
yeah.
Right.
And,
So did he file a motion to dismiss or vacate or?
I filed a counter lawsuit.
Oh, what's that
yeah,
about?
what did I have? 7 counts.
yeah, we have 7 counts, 7 counterclaims against
And
them.
they took it, so at least I have a
Yeah.
lawsuit.
Like for what type
on
of things? Fraud, that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
Fraud, deceit,
Yeah.
emotional distress, punitive damages.
Yeah.
Lost a
I lost
baby,
a baby.
and-
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
yeah.
What else?
We've had a lot of like really crappy stuff happen.
No, it's very stressful. I mean,
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
can't even focus.
You can
know?
imagine.
yeah, this is the other part of the. It's really, I kind of classify it as domestic violence.
I would think
you
so.
guys aren't cohabitating, but it's a close family member, and you did. And
Yeah.
certainly when you were young, it was domestic
Oh
violence,
yeah,
right?
absolutely. Yeah.
Child abuse, that kind of thing. That's classification. But I'm just kind of amazed that this is so, on the face of it,
Right.
ridiculous.
Yes.
And this is an Orange County court.
No,
No.
that's the problem.
Oh.
It's
That's the
San
problem.
Bernardino Court.
Oh, Sam. Well, there's
Yes.
not anything going on out there except crack labs and
That's
stuff.
That's the
exactly.
problem
That's a-
because it's so many like there's so many people out there just trying to be shady. So
Meth
the
houses,
court,
yeah.
the court gets clouded up.
Yeah. No, it's not. Hasn't really helped me at all, and so I've kind of took it upon myself to, I don't know, share to the world what's going on.
Well, do you think you're going to get in trouble from your attorney because you're talking?
No.
Oh.
All right.
The only thing, the main thing that we have to make sure of is that we're talking about things that are factual.
Yeah.
Things
right.
that are openly available to the public, which our whole case is openly
Yeah.
available to the
Right.
public.
I put
You can go on
everything. I don't have anything to hide.
the
like
court
I
website.
said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously they're not doing.
I mean, I think the funny thing is that tomorrow, from what we understand,
Oh,
they're going to
yes.
try to rush to court and do an ex parte motion to try to get us to stop us from doing the radio show because originally we were scheduled for the 23rd.
Oh, yes, but I put you in a time machine.
Yeah,
And sent
and
you backwards in time, and they. That's right.
So we kind of rushed this so that way we can kind of be like, well, we'll see how that goes.
Now, if your parents call me up and say, I want to come on the show, I'm inclined to let them come on the
Let's
show and
do
tell a
it.
story. What do you think?
Yes.
I would
Is that fine with you guys?
Yes,
Heck yeah.
absolutely. I think that's 100%.
Where are
fair.
you?
And what's their name?
Daniel and Socorro Contreras.
All right, Mr.
And
and
even
Mrs.
Robin Contreras.
We would love to
Mr.
hear.
and Mrs. Contreras, you're welcome to come on the show. The studio's in
Please.
Hollywood, Sunset
Yeah.
Gower Studios. And we can get you in here. 4 people have to squeeze it in, but we can make it work.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll make
And
it work.
We'll
come on and
definitely.
tell us how the story. But I think it would be interesting if you guys came on because there are 2 sides to everything.
Absolutely.
And I'm not here to believe anybody.
Sure.
I'm here to listen to people's stories, right? And try to keep it fair and so that it makes sense.
Right.
And, if they have something that they want to say, they should come on here and say it because it's fair, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Very interesting. Well, what's
Yeah.
the next step for you guys? Hurry up and wait, I guess. That's what we're
Hurry
going
up
to do
and
now.
wait. Yeah. So I think where are we at this point? We have another trial setting conference,
we
and we
have
actually get a
another-
trial date. We have some depositions coming up, so that'll be interesting.
I have to do my deposition and finish their deposition because they just don't cooperate.
Now, listen, I went to law school for a year, and I ran out of money. It's not that hard. It's
Oh.
not that hard to be a lawyer, okay?
Just got to run around in a lot of circles.
There are, 30 million people in California, and there's 30,000 lawyers or something.
Right.
It's some
I know.
crazy. It's probably higher than
Yeah.
that, right?
Sure.
So, as Shakespeare said, kill all the lawyers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is part of churning, making fees and all that kind of thing. I have my attorney, who's a great attorney, by the way, Dana Delman, if anybody wants to hire her. She doesn't want to do litigation ever.
Right.
So she takes the case because she
Oh,
wants to
yes.
settle it. And settling is really, I think, the goal of any dispute.
Right.
Sure.
Not to drag it out and just screw with somebody and take all
Right.
their money away. But if you really feel you're not just on your side of it, and let's say it's your parents' side,
Right.
and if somebody presents something reasonable to settle, then you want to try and negotiate that and settle it instead of trying to win it.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
Settling and winning
We've
are two different
tried.
things.
We've
to offer
offered
that
them
money.
$30,000 to walk.
Oh, that's interesting.
More than their $20,000 that she owes them. We've
Right.
already given them the one car. Plus, whenever I had him help me with anything, I gave him a ton of cash. Like I had him help me sell an old pickup I had, and he put it out in front of his shop, and he sold it for, or at least it helped me sell it. I found the guy off Craigslist, anyways, but still, I gave him $300 for it. You know what I'm saying? And she's given him cash. All the help we've ever just handed money over to these people, and then they turn around and pull this kind of BS. Yeah.
Any plans for a settlement conference? Sometimes they get a family in the room for these kind of things and say, okay, let's sit down and try and work this out in a legal way, but also in a family way. Have anybody approached that?
I think that it was said at the last court hearing, but I think we wanted to skip that and go straight into.
Yeah, the judge wants us to do mediation consistently. He's like, mediate it. And,
Oh, yeah.
And I think at this point, what we've kind of had to explain to the judge is like, there's no mediation here.
These people don't want to mediate
Like,
with
they-
me.
they want
fight
the house,
really
like-
dirty.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
it. I mean, we're not dealing with like two brothers fighting over a dad's estate, and one thinks he should have the guitar and the other one thinks he should have the guitar. I mean, that would be an easy compromise, right? You'd be able to figure something out that's in the estate that you could say, hey, Dad really cherished this too, and we can make that easy, and we'll work it all out. This isn't that situation. This isn't flat out. These are two people that have been pulling scams like this on other people. You know what I mean? They've allegedly, but we've heard that they haven't.
Yeah.
They've.
As a child, I saw a lot of things that now make sense to me.
Right.
And so.
They're
so those are facts in your brain.
Oh, absolutely.
You lived it.
110% facts.
Okay, all right. That's fair.
And they're not. It's funny because her mom would always talk about my brother had a girlfriend at the time. When we were going around, she would always talk about my brother's girlfriend. So nasty. She's like a dirty Mexican girl. She's just gonna steal your parents' house. She's in there trying to find the paperwork.
Yeah.
And this is the mother-in-law saying this.
This is
your
mother's mom.
Your mother
saying this to me about my brother's girlfriend at the time. And it's kind of like, well, calling the kettle black,
And now we're like, oh my gosh.
Were you trying to throw us off the scent or something? Because, like, what? I mean, first thing ever is if somebody tells you they're not doing something, they're doing it,
Well, that is true. and when they the same is true when somebody accuses somebody else of lying, like completely just everything you say is a lie, and they call people out, they're usually the liar, right? And there's that famous saying that goes, all truth passes through three stages.
Sure.
First, it's ridiculed. Right, then it's violently opposed.
Yeah,
and then it's accepted. It's self-evident.
Right.
That's true.
Oh, the world isn't flat. What's wrong with you? Well, it was flat. When everybody said it was flat, that was a lie. And then we said, well, it might be flat, and of course it's not flat.
Right.
And society progresses all the time. It's the same thing in conflicts.
Sure.
It's the same way. So, somebody goes up and starts saying, "You're a liar. You're a liar. You're a liar." My first instinct is, dude, I'm just sitting here minding my own business.
Right.
What's your problem?
I know.
So you're the liar, probably. And that turns out to be the case sometimes.
I think that's what's the funny thing about the whole complaint against Cindy, that her parents or her dad
in my complaint.
wrote. This guy basically blames Cindy for life. He says that Cindy has stolen from them. She's forged checks. She's done this. But the checks that they showed up at the deposition with were signed by her mom. There's no other person that could sign like that. They brought like 10 checks in. He said half of them were hers and half of them were forged, and they all have the same exact signature. So it's kind of like.
Now let's talk about these allegations against you in the lawsuit. So, what's the earliest allegation they've made against you in your life timeline? Right. So, are they saying, well, when she was 13, she kicked the dog? Are they going way back like that, or are they actually basing these things on? Statute of limitations on things. They can't sue you for something that happened 20 years ago, right?
Right.
So, are they just putting this in as a backstory?
I think they're putting it as a backstory.
Yeah.
And
Character development.
For them, it's real. But to them, I still owe them that house.
So they're suing you to get the house.
Mm-hmm.
They're suing you for what else?
1.5 in damages.
Mm-hmm.
Like emotional things or actual damages or something?
Yeah,
I don't know what happened.
I don't know.
They're the ones that tore down the wall in the house.
Yeah. I don't know what.
What's his property worth? If you don't mind me asking.
About 300.
350
so just
on a good day.
They want to multiply it so they can make sure they get more.
Yeah, exactly. So, the house wasn't worth that long.
Right. Is it paid off, by the way? You guys own it?
No, there's a lot of equity in it now. That's why nobody wanted the house when there's no equity in it, but now that there's equity in it.
So you're still paying the mortgage?
Yes.
And I think we started at the beginning of this. You've been paying the mortgage ever since you got it transferred from your ex-husband to you?
Yes.
No, they pay rent now.
Well,
No.
Yeah,
That's mortgage. It's like who's writing the check to the bank, right? You write the check to the bank.
No,
they might pay you rent.
They are.
That
was kind of the issue. So we only thought they were going to be there for about a year, and the house was going to be able to get sold. So we said, hey, just write the check to the bank because we live 80 miles away. No big deal. You know what I mean? And that's when they thought they were owning everything.
Oh, well,
they would even put good faith on the checks they would send.
Yeah, I'm no lawyer, but I'm not sure that you own the house that way.
It doesn't work that way, no.
Yeah. So
it doesn't.
They claim that, if them paying, then that's their house.
So his mom called up and said, hey, Cindy, why don't we just settle this on the side, and I'll make it all go away, and just give us the house. Have they personally, outside of litigation, asked you for something?
No. Yeah, even if
they have. They have. Yeah, because their attorney has given us a couple really, really amazing offers.
Oh, he wants
one of them was $10,000 in a walk.
What, give your parents
No,
10,000.
They give us 10,000 and what?
Exactly.
Right?
Why do I
Right?
need? Yeah.
They're suing you, and they're going to pay you to leave.
We got an offer for 30 the other day. So that's why we're like, if you guys are offering us
Wait,
stuff,
they're suing you for 1.5 million, but they're going to give you 30,000.
trust me, Chuck.
And then you give them the house. Is that the idea?
Yeah.
So they want to buy the house from you through litigation.
They essentially want to try to do a short sale through litigation.
Yeah.
You know.
All right, now
Maybe that's what they were trying to do.
we never let facts get in the way here on Security Guy TV.
No.
It's kind of annoying to have facts, but I did do a little research and was looking at some things on your page. And there's this guy named Robert Bartlett. Is that his name? It's such a weird name. I think I told you my uncle had an attorney by that name.
Right.
I don't know if it's the same guy, but he's corresponding with you on Facebook in a public forum, and just things like I don't know. You want you to tell the truth, and want you to do this, and I'm thinking, okay, he's an attorney. He's suing you. Mm-hmm. What's he doing talking on Facebook to you? That seems kind of weird.
That was I think it's when I first started going on social media.
Yeah.
And he had already sued you at that time.
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah.
In fact, he invites everybody to call his office and ask questions about the case, which I encourage everybody to do because I think it's amazing that.
Oh, let's give him. Don't give the phone number. My insurance only goes so far.
Yeah, right.
But they can look him up. Robert Bartlett in Orange County.
Riverside.
Okay. So what was that correspondence about? Tell everybody kind of what it was back and forth that he was posting.
Yeah.
This is on your private Facebook page.
Yeah. So
I assume he wasn't your friend.
He was not my friend.
And these were public postings. They have to be.
Yes,
He's not your friend.
That's correct.
Public. Okay.
They were public.
Completely public. So we made a video on. We went to my father's shop and made a video, a really quick thing of what was happening. And
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, he went on there and just we had to take it down because
he basically told us that we made death threats and he was going to try to, this and this and that and that. So. Right. We just kind of said, it's better if we just kind of take it down, lay cool for a minute, make some pretty safe videos and nothing questionable, and we'll keep it all on the right side of the line, and we can, say whatever we need to say. And if that happens to embarrass these plaintiffs, I mean, unfortunately that's nothing I can control. They say what they say. I'm only just dictating that, and we're only dictating that.
So what was he talking about on Facebook?
How I was lying about this whole case and that he was giving my parents a platform to speak. So he, I didn't really read much about it, but he was ranting with my mother-in-law and then other people on Facebook. And it wasn't just one or two responses. No. It was... Yeah,
I glanced at it. There was quite a bit of correspondence.
He ended up making a threat saying that he'll make sure that he wins this case. So I'm kind of curious to see what he's really willing to do.
I don't know. That sounds like a state bar complaint to me. I'm not sure.
I think we have some major issues here. And the good thing is he thinks that maybe they think that this whole thing went down, but we have everything saved in pictures and it's all private now, so we have it all saved.
But I'm not sure that an attorney who's suing you can just it's called, isn't it called ex parte or something like that? They're not allowed to contact you unless through your attorney.
Sure. Tell our attorney, yeah.
Well, I mean, at this point...
I guess you don't have to respond to it, but I'm not sure they can even attempt to contact you.
I think Daniel did once, but it was kind of like, what are you doing, dude?
What do you mean?
Yeah, talk to my attorney.
I didn't know. I basically just questioned him. I gave him a really hard time. I mean, that's what I do. So... I mean, he gave me the forum to kind of let loose on him.
Yeah, because he's not named in the lawsuit.
I'm gonna go for it.
Me.
Oh, you're not named?
No.
Oh, that's interesting.
So they're just suing me.
Well, you're fortunate they're not going after your company,
right?
Well,
they would try if they could.
They were trying,
right?
They would try if they could.
Absolutely.
All right, now let's do a commercial for Security Bud.
Let's do it.
Because while we're here, we want to get this word in. So tell us about the business.
Security Bud. So what we do is we specialize in cannabis compliant security systems. We have a branch in 4 states: Colorado, Washington, Oregon, and California. And I'm traveling a lot now, and we're really excited because we just got the new laws for California.
Yes, the compliance.
Yes,
yeah, they were a little slow on that, coming up with those.
You know what? I think they were slow, but they were methodic. They really have a lot of methods to their madness. I think they really took a lot of time to.
Yeah, one thing California can do. It's litigate you into the ground.
It is, man. Let me
They're good at that.
The security systems people are going to have are nothing your Craigslist guy can put in. I mean, they really have to go to somebody like me.
I had Helix THC or something on your. Ever heard of Helix?
Yeah,
really big national company.
Sure.
he told me the same challenges. You know, one state has this compliance, another state has that
Yes.
compliance.
Yep.
Huge booming business. I'm not a fan of drugs. I think the marijuana legalization's not good in the long run. But you know what? It's here. What are you going to do
We'll
about
find out. Yeah.
it? Yeah, but you know, if they're going to do it, they might as well do it safely.
Right.
That's
yeah.
what. I am happy if they are doing that, because there's this guy on Cahuenga Boulevard. I don't know if you saw that post where I do the security knot little.
Yes.
Sometimes, yeah.
So here's this guy sitting in front of one of these top clinics in
Sure.
Hollywood, and he's got some kind of yellow, it looked like a bobsled hat on or something, and you know, these big chevrons and blue jeans and a shirt that doesn't match, and that was their dude. That was their security dude sitting out there every day.
Oh,
And I'm thinking,
I saw
that's not
him.
serious
Yeah.
security.
Yeah.
You know.
No.
They don't take it seriously.
Well, they take it cheaply. This is the other thing
Yes.
that I find interesting about the business, and you can talk to
That
that,
is true.
is that those guys have a lot of money.
They do. A lot of cash laying around.
Yet they're hiring the cheapest guard company they can find, which I don't get.
Oh, trust me.
So you think the
Well, what's going to happen is obviously with the laws coming down the pipe, what it basically does is it turns a lot of amateur guys that are hustling right now into legitimate business
or
owners.
they're out.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that pretty much, it's the equalizer. Are you going to be able to pay all your dues and fees and things? Now you just can't put your $2,500 in your pocket. Now the state's going to take a quarter of that. You know what I'm saying? Now somebody else wants a little bit else of that. So, you know, there's definitely, it's going to be an equalizer, I think, for sure.
I mean, it's going to make the industry safer, and that's what
A
we
lot
need.
safer.
It's still, I went to the police academy about 3 years ago to get renewed,
Oh.
and then we talked. You know, one of the modules was drugs,
Sure.
and marijuana is still the most violent, high cash of all the drug dealing.
Oh, I agree.
It's not like the Scarface from the '80s anymore.
No.
It's the marijuana dealers.
It is.
And now you have these massive plants. There's a guy. He was on the show the other day talking about robotics.
Yes.
This business that's
Yeah.
just huge now, right?
Right.
So he said that we go to Palm Springs all the time. Palm Desert. I love that place. Well, there's Desert Hot Springs kind of across the road. That's that's the step cousin over there.
Sure.
That, kind of run downtown and everything. So an acre of land was selling for $5,000 about 2 years ago. Now it's selling for $500,000
Sure.
in 2 years.
That's correct, because they
Wow.
opened that all up.
So they're growing. It's the growers.
And it depends on how close you are to
Unbelievable.
power.
Yeah.
If you're
Got all,
if you're on
all
power,
the windmills out there.
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
what it is they have a lot of the grids and stuff like that. Some places don't have any power, so you can get the land still really cheap, but you have to trench that whole thing.
So there's
and get
a
all
trade-off
the
of cost, yeah.
The utility has to come in. Some places are ready to go. So what we're basically doing is we're working with a couple distribution partners right now to have a sales force in California. That'll probably be close to 30 strong once we get everything fired up to really get this name going and
Good.
and make
It's a great name. It's a great marketing.
have Security Bud kind of have the everybody, Canagard, all these other guys have kind of had their fun in Oregon and in Colorado. Now I've been waiting in California, so here we go.
Well, the idea, and we'll talk about it after the show, but I want to tell people on the show, is I got this channel now, right? So it's live stream,
Yeah.
/ Security Guy TV, / Security Bud, / the alarm guy, / the consultant, right?
Right.
And I'm going to get you guys software, so your phone, when you turn it on, goes live, it goes to your page.
There we go.
And you're just hey, we're out doing a job over here, we're doing this, we're doing that.
I love it.
It'll be a
That is
continuous
so
feed.
cool.
I love
So
it.
you don't have to come on my show, you have your own show, basically.
Sure, I love it.
And we're just going to rent the space. I'm going to rent those little backslashes to people and build a network nationwide, so this station would be the place to go for all kinds of things. I want to make my 350 guests live all the time. That's kind of the
Sure.
idea. And I got 350 channels.
Oh,
I
that
say,
would
oh,
be
yeah, that
neat.
guy, this
Yeah.
guy, and that guy.
Right.
That's kind of the idea.
Yeah.
So, all
Yeah.
Definitely lots of content.
right, Miss Cindy, you have the final word here. Let me get you back on camera. I don't want Dan to hog up the whole show
Yeah,
here.
I know.
you can
I'm hogging
totally
up everything here.
Hog up the whole show.
Security hog.
We're plugging my business here.
No, it's good.
totally
we need
okay.
to plug it. I mean, all these legal fees, Chuck. Come
No,
on.
that's right. Well, like I said,
We have to pay
you
our
guys are
legal
super
fees.
young and you're working hard, and I mean, you have all the time to make this a giant enterprise. And
But
it's
I
exciting.
don't. That's the thing. I don't have all the time. Every minute is precious.
No, I know, but you're not 55 starting a radio show.
No,
Yeah.
that's true. I'm not.
It's a
I'm
little
not.
difference. I got to hurry my ass up because I'm not going to be around much longer. So tell us in closing what I mean.
What I want.
Yeah, what do you want? I mean, if you're going to talk to your parents, talk to them and say,
Sure.
what can we do?
Well, can I just have my house back? I don't want anything. I won't go after them. I just want my house and my life back.
You can look right at that camera, look straight at them right there, and just say,
You can still have the 30 grand after we sell it too. Just leave.
Just leave.
Just
Okay,
leave.
30 grand.
Bartlett, that'll give you at least like
I know,
$5,000. Live for a couple months,
yeah,
be all right.
It's made me a lot stronger than I thought. It's okay. One
It's
day
hurtful.
Yeah, it's disgusting how this has all kind of transpired.
I mean, I think people
But-
don't understand it's a lot different.
I wish it was
When a
not my
family
parents.
member, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
See,
If it could have been anyone
if it's
else.
a renter or something, you know,
Or a
those things
customer.
happen.
Or I mean,
Yeah.
it's so
you could
easy
go
because
flick them off.
Right.
yeah, you're like,
But
whatever.
How do you this betrayal is very hard.
Yeah.
But it is what it is, and I'm just trying to take it. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. You're
Yeah.
very welcome.
And thanks.
I want you to just remember, from the security point of view, just keep your cool, right?
Yeah.
Maintain civility. It's difficult to do. Don't help them escalate it, right?
Yeah.
Because these things can go violent eventually.
Yes,
And I'm not
that's-
saying they are. I'm not saying you guys are violent. I'm just saying
I know.
that's the
no
progression.
violence.
Because people snap one day and they go, you know what? Really? You took away this, took away that?
But you
cool.
understand, like you see on those shows all the time, those like 48-hour shows, how these people
Yeah.
just snap.
That's what happens.
Absolutely.
But you
yeah.
could snap too. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
So you got to maintain your cool with it.
I
And Daniel's a
have.
rock. He's going to help you do it.
He has been,
I'm
yeah.
trying.
And his whole family. Thank you, the Hernandez and Godino clan, very much. And anybody else. Thank you so much. And thanks, Chuck and Dan.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome to come on the show. Give us their names
Oh,
again.
yeah. Daniel Socorro Contreras.
All right. Mr.
Or even
Contreras.
Robin Contreras.
You're welcome to come on the
Welcome.
show.
Welcome.
Send me an email. Look up. I'm going to force you to go to my website, securityguardradio.com, and you got to find the contact button. I'm not going to give it on the air, but send me an email. You guys can come in here anytime you want. I'm in Vegas for a conference next week, but as soon as I get back, you're welcome to do it. All right. So thanks for coming on,
Thank
both of you guys.
you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right,
Thank
everybody.
you,
All right.
Chuck.
We'll see you next
Bye.
week on Security Guard Radio. Good night.
Peace.
Bye.
Coolio.